neighbor called about a small white puppy crying near some trash bins. The winter wind was blowing hard and rain clouds were gathering. I grabbed my rescue bag, packed with treats, water, blankets, a small first aid kit, and a carrier. Walking down the empty street, I followed the sound of soft cries coming from behind some bushes. There sat a tiny white puppy shaking from cold and fear. His fur was so dirty it looked almost brown, and his ribs showed through his skin. Old burger wrappers and empty cans around him showed he'd been searching for food in the trash. When our eyes met, he tried to hide deeper in the bushes. I sat on the ground, turned my body sideways. This makes scared animals feel safer, and took out some treats from my pocket. The smell of food made him peek out. Moving very slowly, I held out my hand with the treats, keeping it low to the ground. After what felt like forever, hunger won over fear and he crept closer. In the car, I turned up the heat and offered him water in a small bowl. His tongue was dry and he drank in tiny sips. I put on soft classical music. It helps calm scared animals. I watched him in the mirror as he looked around with wide eyes at his first car ride. The kind vet gave him a full checkup. She found lots of tiny bugs in his fur and some cuts on his feet from walking on sharp things. His body was cold and he weighed less than half of what a puppy his age should. The vet cleaned his wounds, gave him medicine for the bugs, and put a tiny cone around his neck to help his cuts heal. She also scanned him for a microchip, always important even with strays. She guessed he was about 8 weeks old, just old enough to eat solid food. At home, I set up a quiet corner with a gate. New rescues need their own safe space. I filled the sink with warm water and sweet-smelling puppy soap, testing it on my wrist like you would for a baby. He stood very still at first, but when the warm water touched his skin, his tail gave a small wag. I used a cup to pour water over him, talking softly the whole time, watching the dirt wash away to show his true white fur. Each gentle splash seemed to wash away a bit of his fear too. After his bath, I wrapped him in the softest towel I had. His whole body relaxed as I dried him with the warm towel. Then came his favorite part, the brush. I warmed it under hot water first, and when I brushed his fur, his eyes started closing with joy. A happy puppy smile appeared on his face. I checked his skin carefully while brushing. Rescued pets often have skin problems that need treatment. For his first proper meal, I mixed special puppy food with warm water to make it easy to eat. Rescue puppies need to start with small, frequent meals to avoid getting sick from eating too much too fast. He sniffed the bowl carefully before taking his first bite. Then he ate every bit, looking up at me between bites as if checking that this was really all for him. I placed some puppy pee pads near his bed. House training would start tomorrow. His cozy bed had soft blankets in a warm corner, away from drafts but where he could still see around him. He walked around it 3 times, pawing at the blankets just like wild dogs do to make their sleeping spots. When he finally curled up, his eyes stayed on me until sleep took over. The steady rise and fall of his chest told me he was having his first peaceful sleep in what must have been a very long time. His rescue story would help teach others how to save more scared, lonely puppies from the streets.